Hello and welcome, beautiful people, for another episode here at Stuck is Lava. Today we have a very Italian match. We can see Simone versus Stefano. Simone is playing Eldrazi Tron and he just presented his pre-game action, Devourer of Destiny, while Stefano is playing Grixis Reanimator. It's gonna be a nice matchup. There we go. Devourer exiled 3 cards adjusting Eldrazi Tron hand. Expedition map in the battlefield. They remembered the life totals. Unfortunately, we get to see the splash screen from Avatar. I'm not a big fan of this Universe Beyond. There we go, fetch shock for Stefano. Both the decks are very good decks in my opinion. Faithless Looting for Stefano. 1 Archon drawn through the Faithless Looting. 2 Archons to graveyard and 1 Persist in hand. This is probably the best start for Grixis Reanimator. Eldrazi Tron plays a land and pass the turn. There we go. Land shock again. Ready for a big, huge persist. Simone is sensing something. There we go. Persist. And Kozilek Command. Kozilek Command, I want to remind to everybody that one of the modes is exile X cards out of target player's graveyard. And so when Persist targeted the Archon, he just exiled it. Very good play for Simone at this point. Urza's Mine. Simone disrupted the best start for Grixis Reanimator. Right in the feelings. Emotional damage. Those 6 life points. They're not just 6 damages, it's emotional damage. Frog. Simone responds to Frog. He wants to exile the Frog and exile the Archon. That's a slaughter. Seriously. Eldrazi Tron is playing very defensively, respecting a lot the Grixis Reanimator plan. Faithless Looting. Drawing 2, and then discarding 2. Fatal Push. and Steam Vents. Polluted Delta and passing the turn. Eldrazi cracks them up, taking a power plant to finishing the Tron. Right now, Stefano is questioning his play, but I gotta say that there was nothing wrong in what he did. He had a turn 2 combo, he tried to go for the combo, Simone just had the answer. Karn. Karn could be very, very big at this point of the game. Removing whole Stefano's hope to win or take back this game. And there we go, Ghost Vacuum Cleaner. It's not just a piece of hate for the graveyard, it's also super good to get advantage of what Grixis could put, like getting the threats from Grixis for its own sake. Stefano conceded it was too much to handle. Second game, they're showing their hands. Simone is showing 2 Devourers of Destiny. And there we go, pre-game action. This card was very controversial at the very beginning when it came out, because many people thought that it was not good enough to get into the deck. Turned out that it was not just good enough, it was the perfect fit, because allowing you to look for at the top 4 cards, and in this case top 8 cards, adjusting what you're gonna draw, not just fixes you when you need to finish your turn, but also helps you to find your graveyard, your hate for the opponent, helps you to find one of your sideboard cards, for example. And this is the huge advantage that Simone is taking at this point. He kept on top a Kozilek command that is what won for him the previous match. Ujin's Labyrinth for Mindstone. Basically, he has already 3 mana on turn 1. Grixis Reanimator, fetching. He's already questioning his game, not even started. Stefano took Undercity Sewers to Surveil. Surveilling, no Archon to the graveyard. And fetch pass. Not all the players are like Mengucci that are able to turn 1 Surveil Archon to the graveyard. Some people have to dig harder. Eldrazi Temple. Surveilling again. Let's see if Stefano is at least almost as lucky as Mengucci. Bye, Mengu. No. Even though Stefano is Italian, he's not as lucky as the famous one. And land pass. I guess the best way to deal with Eldrazi Tron is to be the beatdown and try to disrupt Eldrazi's game, but at this point, like, he's building up his lands and soon it's gonna be out of control. While Stefano surveils again. I still can't sense the Mengu spirit. He kept on top. At least he liked this card, but it was not an Archon Surveil to the graveyard. Island. Two mana. Emperor Bones. Exiling nothing since Simone's graveyard is empty and all the cards that you can see below his deck are just exiled. Now Simone is asking how Emperor Bones works, like how does it work to adapt the Emperor. The adapt triggers can be activated as many times as you want, but once the +1/+1 counters hit the Emperor Bones, you cannot adapt anymore. So if in response to an adapt trigger the opponent wants to kill the Emperor, you can adapt again if you have enough mana. And eventually, just once, you're gonna reanimate something that you exiled with the Emperor Bones. So it doesn't matter how many times you trigger the ability, just one time activation. Taking for damages. Dismember on the Emperor. Graveyard. Land for turn. Knowing Simone's hand and seeing how many lands are on the battlefield, I think he's already out of control. And Emperor Bones again. Nothing to exile. Or he just didn't exile anything. You don't have to exile creatures with the Emperor Bones. You can also exile whatever is in the graveyard. Opponent's graveyard and your graveyard. Planning for Shrieker. This card is a very, very good endgame alternative to the big threats that Tron usually go for. It's something you have to get rid of. You cannot let it enter the battlefield. And Stefano knows it. Consigned to memory. That small little thing can win games out of nowhere. You need just 2 Kozilek command and you have plenty of damage and plenty of Eldrazi spawns on the battlefield. Devourer of Destiny. Big, huge, fat. Simone just moved the Devourer on another kind of exile zone. Oh, another consigned to memory on the Devourer of Destiny. So still the Devourer that he moved up there, it's still exiled with the Eugene Labyrinth. Fulminator Mage. Yeah, what year is it? Targeting Urgent Labyrinths, getting rid of the Devourer of Destiny. And then exiled through the Emperor of Bones and played again through the Adapt ability of Emperor of Bones. Attacking for 6. Destroying an Eldrazi Temple. Well, this was a pretty big comeback. That was totally unexpected. Also because in 2025 no one plays Fulminator Mage anymore. Well, no one. Stefano does. Moving to combat phase, exiling a Devourer of Destiny from Eldrazi's graveyard, attacking for 4. Kozilek command, X is 7. The modes are scrying 7 and having 7 Eldrazi spawns. Sorry, X is 5. In response, persist on the Fulminator Mage, destroying a power plant. And then Psychic Frog. This is an intense game. It's like, it looked very stale, and now everything is happening. Seven mana Ujin. Yeah, that's way too big. Stefano suggested what to take out of the Eugene cast ability. Stefan is surprised how destroying so many lands gets still Tron able to completely function. And Simone just replied, I floated. I didn't want to draw so many lands. Putting on the battlefield is way too hard to handle. Especially with 2 cards in hand. 2 lands in hand. Stefano conceded and now they're showing their sideboard. Vexing Bubble and all his dust out for 2 Disruptor Flutes, while for Grixis 3 Consign to Memory in and 2 melts down, and 4 Fatal Push out plus an unmarked Grave. I mean, Fatal Pushes are probably the most useless cards against